say. We are actually, it was one of those things where we kind of forget when holidays happen because most people had that 3-day weekend, right? So a lot of people are off today, and so they probably already had it in their brain. For us, the holiday kind of gets here and we're like, oh wait, it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So good morning. I know Eric wanted to chime in. Yes, he did. So good morning. Good morning, Diz Deb, by the way.
Oh, hey.
Hey, honey.
Hi, how's it going? I'm back this week. It's nice to see you. I just wanted to, Martin Luther King Jr. Day is it's an important day to me, and I really we were getting ready to start the show, and I'm like, it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So I always like to tell people, and I always put on my social media things, everyone in the universe today is gonna say, I have a dream. That's a fantastic speech. Mm-hmm. For me, go back and read Letter from the Birmingham Jail for Martin Luther King Day if you want to celebrate the man. Because for me, that's the message. And we could use a message of nonviolence these days in a lot of things, and it's always the correct answer to the question. So that's all I'd say about that. Goodbye.
Yes, so you're all, you can see Eric is here today in the flesh. We'll talk about his adventures here shortly. But yeah, so it's, we're like I said, the holidays kind of creep up on us, and I promise as the day progresses after coffee time, we'll take our time and we'll reflect and appreciate but yeah, so that was very well said, dear.
Thanks.
Well done. So anyway, good morning, everybody. I have my mug. By the way, I'm not claiming that I'm the world's most awesome realtor, but my son-in-law thinks I am. So he gave me this mug a long time ago. I don't even know if they were married.
A lot of people say you're the world's most awesome realtor, but that's their word.
That's their word. That's their word. I mean, no. But in all honesty, Hung gave me this a long time. He probably doesn't even remember it, but I remember it because it touched my heart so much. Anyway, long time ago, and I don't know if they were married yet, or if they were engaged, or if this was just kind of a way to butter me up because getting good with the future mom-in-law. I don't know. Anyway,
maybe, I don't know.
Cheers to you. Anyway, so this is my mug mostly because it matches my my shirt, and because I emptied out my mug cabinet finally of all of the Christmas mugs.
Okay.
What?
If you've been a long-time viewer of Coffee Time, you know that one of Amy's pet peeves is
no coffee.
Empty coffee cups in holiday movies.
Yes,
she has.
It's legit coffee in here, and it's actually perfect because
it's half rum. Be honest.
It's not either. No, it's not. No, it's not. Anyway, but yeah. So there's actual. Do you see how milky I make mine though? What's the color of yours? What's the color of your coffee? Coffee. Where'd that come from? Coffee.
Jane is joining us from
Good morning, Jane.
Over the UK. Sorry again about Newcastle, but so we sent Jane some coffee creamer. But this is why it mattered so much to Amy to send you coffee creamer. We have vats of coffee creamer, they're like this big. And anytime I'm at the store, I'm like, "Do you need anything besides coffee creamer?"
Hey, I like my coffee very sweet, very like weak coffee, but strong creamer. That's kind of what I like. Anyway, so moving on.
Wait, say that again. You like your coffee how?
Weak in coffee.
You like
strong in creamer.
I was going for a joke because
did I say something incorrect?
I like my coffee like I like my men. Weak. Thanks, honey.
I didn't say that.
I know it was going to be my joke, but it didn't come off.
Allie said that Hung is sitting next to her. By the way, Allie, you said you're in a parking lot, right? So Allie had one of her baby appointments this morning. So she and Hung, he is off work today. So I love it. So I cannot wait. So so Allie had told us, she's like, I may not be able to join in, but Allie, you are sort of kind of joining in, so we really appreciate it. And Hong, yes, thank you for the mug. I still
Allie, take a break. It's fine.
I know, right? Allie, you're allowed to have the morning off, babe. Actually, can I just tell you how much we love our son-in-laws, plural. Obviously one of them is not here. He's deployed in the Army. That's Elizabeth's husband. But Hong is here, and Eric was traveling. He flew back yesterday from Virginia, and I had asked Hong 2 days ago. I was like, what are you doing on Sunday? Do you have any plans? And I just asked if they would come take down the Christmas tree for me because I'd already taken all the ornaments off. The house is mostly undecorated, although not put back together again clearly because you told me you would not be able to see the mess that's over there. There's an absolute mess over there. Anyway, it's just all the baby books that I've been collecting, and I'm trying to empty out our entertainment unit because we're getting ready to do that stone wall treatment and some trim work back there. That's starting in the next couple of weeks. So anyway, so Hong's like, he came over yesterday, he and Alyssa, and they took down the tree for me, put it back in the box, and that was a huge help because I knew after all of Eric's traveling, like tremendous traveling over the past week, in less than a week, 2 trips to Virginia driving and coming back, it was insanity. So anyway, so I thought that would be a nice favor.
Amy, I'm over here on the other side of the counter. Again. And by the way, I have a special breaking news graphic. It's not breaking news, but there. Amy, wait.
Take 2.
Amy, I'm here on the other side of the counter. No, the actual breaking news. You know, so today, we get our son-in-law back in about a month.
I know.
From today.
I know.
I just thought I would share that.
Yes.
And I'm very, very excited about it.
Yes, we are very excited.
Much. Also, Elizabeth made a cute comment about her pet peeve, similar to the coffee thing. You should bring that up.
Okay, hold on. Elizabeth, my latest pet peeve is when they switch from babies to baby dolls. I get why they have to do that, but sometimes it's so obvious when it's even just in the background. Yeah. I believe Elizabeth is watching Grey's Anatomy, and so she's, you know what, that's one of those shows that I never watched from beginning to end, but I've seen enough episodes and really enjoyed it, but it was always kind of hodgepodge, but she's been watching it, and yes, she's very attuned to whether or not it's a real life baby that's just been born or that someone is holding to switching it out for a baby doll. So yeah, anyway, that's a good pet peeve. I like that one. Me and the coffee and you and the baby dolls. Anyway.
My pet peeve is when people don't like and subscribe to the thing. No, if you like this, we would like it if you would like this. So don't forget to do that.
Okay, very good. All right, so we have lots to talk about. By the way, I missed a few people. Aw, Susan Forsgren. In my world, you are the most awesome realtor. You're so sweet. I miss you, Susan, and my whole crew there in Virginia. Kim, good morning. She says, love to celebrate such a great man. Indeed, my friend, indeed. I'm just going through. We got Geraint is here. I think I got everybody when I said my good mornings. Ernie, no, I didn't. Good morning, Ernie. You get a non-typed one, but an actual verbal one. Good morning. Anybody else? If I missed you, you know I love you. I just missed you because now I have to focus on my buttons. I have to focus. Okay, so let's get to what's brewing. Okay, so our What's Brewing topics: cold weather, hot market, and the boys are back. Not like the boys are back in town. Quick, Eric, name the group.
It's Thin Lizzy.
No, is it really?
It is.
Oh my God.
No,
Eric
that's a trick one. I'm going to look it up to be sure. I think it is because that's one of those where you think you know who it is.
The boys are back in town.
Oh, that's Thin Lizzy.
Okay.
But then the boys are back in town. There's 2 songs.
Oh.
So the boys are back in town. I think it's Thin Lizzy. I don't know. I'll look it up.
Okay. Anyway, this is our life. This is our life. Okay. Anyway, I thought I was gonna get him, but darn it, he knew that too. Anyway, so cold weather, hot market, and the boys are back. So let's get to the cold weather, shall we? Some of you are experiencing this yourself. However, here it's just a little bit chillier. It's not really cold here. It's just a little bit chilly. It's chilly enough that I can wear long sleeves and not be sweating. So that's good. But take a look at this map. You can see that the majority of our country is in sub-zero temperatures, which is really, really, really cold. And then you can take a look at the blue, and then you take a look at the white, of course. But that's cold, right? And we have always said, and I'm gonna take my glasses off because everything's reflecting. We've always said that as soon as the temperatures get cold up north, right? As soon as things start to get snowy or icy or just those temperatures drop or there's a blizzard, that's when it is just everyone's like, that's it. I'm done with the cold. We're calling Amy and we're going to move to Florida. And that's exactly what's happening. So, if you are experiencing the cold, we are so sorry. Hopefully you have it. Well, first of all, hopefully you love it because I know that the cold isn't necessarily a bad thing. I don't know how it could be well, I mean, it is different than blazing hot temperatures, but you're going to pick one or the other. Some people pick both, and that's why we have a lot of snowbirds here, right? That as soon as it snows where they live, they come here and they spend their winters here in beautiful Florida. So if you're experiencing cold, I am so sorry, but the jealous me says, yeah, but you get to have lots of layers and cute scarves and boots, and
that's what I like the best.
I'm sure
I get to
do.
have cute boots and scarves.
Okay, well, anyway.
Also, if people watching us from around the country want to know the southern term for what the weather is, it's cold as hail.
It's cold as hail. Yeah,
which is ironic because we say it's hot as hail,
right?
But it's
cold. I know.
Hail is very variable in temperature.
All right, moving on. So that is the cold. So again, if it is cold where you are, Jay says, I put my glasses because I can only barely see. By the way, I have a pet peeve about that too. Hold on. That I can't see. Jay says it's 24 here in Massachusetts. Yep. I am so sorry.
Read the whole quote, Amy.
Oh, wait.
It's 24 here in Massachusetts.
Blar
is an important part of the comment.
Sydney says, had a few days of 40s and 50s, but 25 degrees right now. Kim says she is over the cold. Dina says it is snowing in Maryland. Oh my gosh. Yep, that's crazy.
It's cold everywhere.
Yeah, it is. Anyway.
But Amy, what does that mean for the Florida real estate market?
Lord, what a way to segue, dear. So now we then are into it's hot. That means that our market is really picking up. I have some listings that slower foot traffic over the holiday. Let me try that again. Slower foot traffic over the holidays. Like we had told our sellers it was probably, most likely going to be. And then boom, 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 boom. Everything is picking up. This morning I woke up to a showing request for today. So I'm texting my client like uber early saying, I'm so sorry for the early text, but we have a showing today at 2:45. So, and we just had one yesterday at 1:45. And so things are starting to really pick up because exactly what we just said. When it gets colder elsewhere in the country, people start to have those thoughts of moving or second home or whatever they're thinking of. But yeah, lots of calls. The interest rates are also lowering, so that is getting people a little bit more motivated and excited about the opportunity. And then, of course, it's always the New Year rush. So if you just kind of combine all of those things, personally, I'm seeing a lot more phone calls. I'm seeing a lot more foot traffic, a lot more interest, a lot more inquiries, a lot more of everything. And it's only, January 15th. So we're in the middle of the month. Yeah. So absolutely. So it's kind of getting busy. So cold weather, hot market. It's kind of the way it works for us here. So what are you guys seeing where you are? Are you busy? Jim says, I lived through Massachusetts winters for decades. So happy to be here. Yes, I am happy to have you here.
I need to have that picture in our files of Jim outside in the thing.
And was it in our text messages?
I mean, yeah, but way back. We've texted a lot with him since then, so you probably don't have it anymore.
I won't. When we get to a segment where I can look.
That made me laugh so much because we knew he was building a house here.
Yeah, it was funny. Do you remember that, Jim? Do you remember sending us those pictures?
Can I make a comment about...
if you have to.
Yeah, I do. I have to. I'm terrified by the amount of phone calls and, not terrified, but 2 years ago, we felt exactly the same thing. And maybe 3 years ago, we felt the same thing around this time of year where we had to end up going to the Bahamas because you were having a breakdown. Because literally, it's just not stopping. I mean, my phone just rang for something else, but it's one of those things where we got to buckle up because it's a thing.
I apologize. I'm texting right now.
Who are you texting?
Riss. I just said, Eric will be by this is live, guys, 10:30. With sign and lockbox.
Amy,
yes, dear.
Why don't you share with the people what you're texting about?
Oh, sure.
You have a little button there.
I can. Where is it? Here it is. Oh yeah. So yeah. This is who I was just talking to. Okay, so this is actually who I was just texting, and my apologies, but it was kind of, time is of the essence. So this home just went active this morning. Oh my goodness, I am so excited about this one. This is actually, okay, so full disclosure, if you look at that house, look to the left of that picture. Do you see the 2-story house that is to the left of it as you're looking at it? That's our old house when we first moved here. That is the beautiful Parker floor plan at the time by Royal Oak Homes that we built in a community called Avalon Reserve. oh my gosh, how much do I love that neighborhood? How much do I love my community? How much do I love that builder? How much do I love the floor plan? It's off the chart. So this is my former neighbor. They are getting ready to move, and so we just listed their home today. It went active early this morning. We were waiting for the hubby to sign his papers, and as of last night, he just hadn't gotten around to it, and so I sent him a message last night. He signed, and that was just the wife just saying, hey, did he get everything signed?
Yeah. Two things.
Yes, sir.
Look at that bottom center picture. So that's the patio area.
Yeah.
Wow. Hot tub stays at the house.
Yes, hot tub stays at the house. And this is 4 bedrooms and 2 baths under 600,000. Now, guys,
it's also almost 2,500 square feet.
It is
huge one story.
It is. It's a nice big 1 story. And by the way, these were all 60-foot wide home sites. So this is 10 feet wider than most of your new construction home sites here. One thing I want to mention is it is 4 bedrooms and 2 baths. And here's something that's interesting. Public records only shows this as a 3 bedroom. That is incorrect. And these are issues that as realtors sometimes we come across, that public records may not be completely accurate. So this needs to be changed and remedied because it could affect the valuation on the home, the appraisal of the home, and someone else potentially submitting an offer if they're trying to do comps for a public records 3 bedroom 2 bath versus what it actually is, which is a 4 bedroom 2 bath. So the reason for the discrepancy is that could have been, if I remember correctly of my floor plans, it could have been a 3-car tandem garage, and that in lieu of that 3rd bay tandem, they created the 4th bedroom. And so that's why, if you look at the floor plan, and I believe it was called the Emerson.
Yes, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Well, there was an Emerson and there was another one, but I think it is the Emerson.
Yeah. At any rate, so 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, under 600,000. You have a look at the kitchen, big, huge, high-low kind of counter, which I love. I love the high-lows. And then you can see that the tile has been extended, darker cabinets, huge family room area. And then, yes, Eric says, look at the middle picture. So they added, not only was it a covered lanai, which was beautiful, a pavered covered lanai, or a concrete covered lanai, but they've repaved it and they extended it out. They added the screened enclosure. They added ceiling fans, and they added, the hot tub, and that does convey. So it's a beautiful outdoor oasis there. It's not a pool, but it is the hot tub, and it's if you look at that picture, and then slightly to the left of it is actually a pond. So like from the backyard of our home, which is there right next door, we could see the pond, and they're just past the pond, but you can see it off in the distance.
Which is stocked with bass, by the way.
Which is, yes.
So if you like to fish,
go fishing. Yes, Forrest, this is fantastic. Forrest says, public records being wrong makes my job a nightmare. Yes, true. Absolutely. Forrest is our data analyst, and so he oftentimes is the one that is looking up certain things, and if I'm saying it's this and he's looking at public records and it's something else, the discrepancies are kind of a nightmare to deal with. So yes, Forrest, we appreciate you working hard to deal with those headaches, because it definitely is frustrating. But yeah, so that was kind of who I was texting, so my apologies for that. I have not forgotten what's brewing, though, because we are our last topic. So we have cold weather, hot market, and now we have the boys are back. Where are my boys? There they are. All right, so this is my boys. There's Forrest sitting there with his dog Scout, and that is Dawson behind him, I think, eating pizza?
Eating pizza, yes. Forrest ordered us pizza as we got there at 10 o'clock at night.
That was very nice. So
I'm tired.
Yes, so Eric is tired. So he had lots of traveling. So we say the boys are back, meaning, everybody was home for the holidays. As you all know, we talked about it before. Forrest ran the New York Marathon, and then he needed to get back to Virginia. Now, remember, when they come home for the holidays, it's not a quick trip where they just fly and then they can fly back, because he's got his dog and he's here for an extended time. It's a drive, and it's a little bit of a drive, about 12 hours from Richmond to Florida, right? To where we are, about 12 hours.
Yeah.
Yep.
With stops.
With stops, yeah. Anyway, so they started the drive back, and then Eric flew back, and Forrest got home, and then, was it 2 days later, you turned around and did the same thing again with Dawson to get Dawson back, because Dawson had to drive his truck back, and then Dawson had to go from Richmond, which is where this picture is taken, or Henrico, whatever, and then head back to JMU. So,
could our sons be more handsome?
I know. Can you hand me that thing that's over there?
Be more handsome? That was my Chandler ring.
Look to the far left. Look to your left. Hand me those. Yeah. So I get a phone call. Not the 20, but.
Oh, that's fine. You can tell.
Well, I can tell our 20. So does anyone see what this is? Look what this is. Do you see what that says? God, I could not be a weather person. I cannot do it. I cannot think backwards. JMU, what do you think this is, everybody? Mayhaps it's Dawson's dorm key. So he left his spare truck key and his door key here at the house, his dorm door key. Door key. Anyway, sorry.
Door McKee.
Door McKee. No, door key. Anyway, so I have to overnight this. So I have to find a place that's open, preferably today, that might be mailing things overnight. And if not, then we have to get that out tomorrow. Anyway, so things like that happen. But yeah, so Dawson was from Richmond to Harrisonburg. About halfway there, he realized he didn't have his dorm key. So, oh well, we'll get to him. Things happen. He was able to get in, so no issues. He's all settled back in. But yeah, Eric is tired. So that's kind of where we were going with that. Eric is definitely tired. The boys are back. Forrest is back at home. His dog Scout is back at home. Daisy is devastated because the way that she loves Scout is ridiculous. The two of them are best buds.
Yep.
And even a little while ago, I saw Daisy outside and she was sniffing where Scout would typically go to the bathroom. And so she's still kind of sniffing, waiting, figure out where he is. But at any rate, so let's move on. So boys are back, hot, cold, let's move it on. So if you have questions, by the way, don't forget to write your questions in there. A capital Q with a colon is super helpful for us to kind of track them. As Eric says, if you like this for whatever reason, feel free to like and subscribe to it. That's fantastic. That certainly helps us, especially dealing with Monday morning coffee times when it's not the greatest time to do that.
Kim has a question.
Kim has a question. Oh, Kim. I love you, Kim. Okay, yeah.
Everyone that watches this show they're geniuses.
You know what? It's like you're all my assistants. It's almost
great questions every time.
I know, they're great questions. And it's almost like you know what to ask. You're like, oh, I should ask Amy that. Or I already know the answer, but let's have Amy answer it. That's good. So do I recommend epoxying the garage floor? So funny that you mentioned that. So the truth is, yes, of course, absolutely. The question is when. And I have very mixed feelings on this. As a person who has yet to organize our garages, because we have a 2 and a single, that are still absolutely a disaster 2 years later after we've moved in this home, because we did not get that done and the organization done prior to moving in. It's a nightmare years later. So part of me says yes. If you want to be able to move in and de-stress, in fact, I literally was just talking about this to Elizabeth. I'm like, I think the best thing to do if you want to move in with minimizing the stress, right? Maximizing the organizational aspects. Yes, epoxy the garage floor and get your garage organized so that as you're moving in, you can move in and have places to put things so it doesn't become this big jumbled mess. And then finally you're like, forget it, just throw it away or just give it away. I don't even want it. And you don't even know what it is you're giving away. So the answer is yes, from an emotional and logical standpoint. If it's new construction, one of the things and I'm going to use us as an example. When we moved in, first of all, every single garage, and this is important, so everybody listen. If you are purchasing a home in Florida, our soil is very sandy. So almost I think I've had less than a handful of garage floors that did not already have tiny cracks in them, like little hairline cracks through the garage floor. It is normal. It is common. Those types of cracks are normal. They are common. That is not anything to concern yourselves with. However, there is a structural threshold where it can be warrantable, meaning if the builder's warranty will give you that threshold. Usually it's like if you stick a nickel in the crack, or if it starts to switch like this, things like that could be a little bit more concerning, and so it's a warrantable issue. But a regular kind of a structural hairline crack is not something that they typically cover. Now, the reason I'm going into this, Kim, is because in Dawson's garage, in the single car garage, both of my garages had really big cracks in them. And I told the builder, I was like, I already feel like it's bigger than normal. I understand what to expect that's normal, but mine were already pretty big. And he's like, no, they're fine. I'm like, okay. So I waited my year as the home continued to settle, that 1 year warranty that we talk about with the builder. I waited for my home to settle a little bit more to see what those cracks were going to do. And at my 1 year, I had my third party inspection. Thank you, Central Florida Building Inspectors, for coming out. They noted it. I called that under warranty with my builder, and my builder came out and they did fix Dawson's garage. But they said that my side, the 2-car garage, was not warrantable. It had not yet met that threshold. Now, the reason I'm going into this long explanation, Kim, is because if I had epoxied that right away, it may not have been warrantable. Well, it wouldn't have been warrantable because you would have filled the cracks. But the other aspect is you would have filled the cracks. So it's kind of a, which way do you want to do it? Do you want to be proactive and go ahead and fill those cracks and get it epoxied and sealed up and ready to go right away? Or do you want to wait in the off chance that it is going to be a signifier of something that could be a little bit more important foundation wise, that you want to make sure you don't mess it up? Because as soon as you epoxy, your warranty is gone with the builder for that garage floor. So that's kind of why I did that long explanation, but that is a fantastic question. And just so you know, Dawson's is fixed, ours is not. I'm getting ready to do a big garage makeover for my husband. Don't tell him.
We won't tell.
We won't tell my husband that that's what I'm going to do. And we're going to be epoxying. Is that a word?
What?
Is that a word? Epoxying.
Epoxying. Yeah, it's hard to say.
Epoxying. Anyway, we're going to epoxy.
Dictionarium
of wordology.
Yes. Hey, go to the word.
Good question, Kim. Yeah. Oh, I will.
Speaking of words, go to the word, because then we can have a theme. Because last week our theme was inspections. Mm-hmm. So much so that we reran the video.
Last week was fantastic. That was such a good one.
So much about inspections that we actually compressed that and posted that as its own video about inspections. So today's theme can be cracks.
Yes, and you know what? I'm gonna before I go to the cracks, I'm gonna pop up Laura, fantastic. Where'd it go? Laura, we're talking about the epoxy, and she says that's the exact reason why I'm holding off on mine. As a structural engineer, I'm making sure it's just temperature and shrinkage and not settlement. Yes, ma'am.
See, geniuses watch the show.
Geniuses.
We have a structural engineer tuning in to our show to help you all. Come on.
So
you
Laura,
people are the best. I'm
Laura,
not even kidding.
Hopefully you're gonna stick with us for a few minutes, because we're like, don't go anywhere, because we want your input on this exact thing. So hold on, I gotta find my button. Da, 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 da. Word, I found it.
Oh, now come on, Amy, tell me what's the word.
That singer is so good.
That singer is fantastic.
So
What's
stupid.
the word?
So dumb.
That's Eric, you know that, right? Okay, anyway. Okay. Ow. Okay, so we are just in...
I'm punchy today.
I'm punchy too. It's the lack of sleep. All right, sellers... That's right. Seller's property disclosure. That's 3 words. Yes, I know. But the words of the day, seller's property disclosure, it ties in perfectly with what we're going to be talking about. So first of all, I'm not going to show you the name or the address on this, but this is an actual seller's property disclosure for one of my listings. This is a document that I don't know about other brokers, but this is required in my file. And if it's not in my file, then we are required to have another form that says that we did not have a seller's property disclosure provided, that the seller would not provide one. This is something that really is required by the seller to complete on their home. The realtor cannot fill this out for them. This must be completed by the seller. It has questions about are the structures, including roof, ceilings, walls, doors, windows, foundations, and pool, hot tub, and spa, all structurally sound and free of leaks. Termites. Have you had any treatments or any intrusion with termites? Have you had past or present water intrusion that's affected the property? Yes. What is your source of drinking water? Do you have septic or sewer? To your knowledge, is the roof structurally sound and free of leaks? Anyway, it goes on and on and on and on, right? And this is a 4-page document that the seller is supposed to complete. So, true story. Yesterday, I'm out with a client, and we are looking at at a townhome out in Champions Gate. And she was, very interested. Actually, it was a great townhome. HOA is a little high, but it's always high out in Champions Gate. But great location for her. The home was nice. It had a couple years on it, but it wasn't too terribly old. But there was one thing that was concerning, and that was that from the moment you walk in the garage door to the back of the sliders at the back of the home, Laura, you paying attention? There is a crack in the tile, right in the middle of the tile. Boom, goes to the next tile. Boom, it's cracked. Next tile. Boom, it's cracked. Next tile. Boom, it's cracked. So the listing agent texts me and she's like, "Hey, how's it going? What is the feedback on the property?" I'm like, "Actually, we're still here at the home. We really like it. We're just talking things over." And then she's like, okay, great. And then I said, when I get back, I'm going to send her, this is what I always tell my, because you want to be in communication with the other agent. And I said, when I get back, I'm going to send her the seller's property disclosure and the HOA disclosure for her to review. And then we're going to talk about whether or not she wants to submit an offer. And she said, is that the one where I need to pick it up, Eric?
Yeah.
Okay, so where is that? Where'd you put that?
Right next to the word.
Right next to the word.
Word button.
Word. Oh, I see it.
Right there.
Yeah. So, so this is the response. This is the response from the listing agent of this property. I don't add the seller disclosure, but I know the property hasn't had any issues. There is no damage to it, no major damage to anything. Do you see the tiles? Do you see that? And I responded, I don't need to tell you the whole thing, but basically I responded, I was like, there's tiles that are cracked from the garage door entrance to the back of the home. If it was one tile, maybe you dropped a dish, you knocked over a vase, and it cracked a tile, that's one thing. But when it continues in a line all the way down through the back of the home, Laura, this is where I want your opinion, that can indicate that there might be a problem underneath, a foundation issue, and the truth is sometimes if that isn't remedied properly, you can retile that and cover it up, put that new fresh tile on it, but then it could crack again until we get to the source of the problem. So I don't know, Laura, are you here? You keep an eye out for Laura and see if she's responding.
I love that. The three parts of this. I don't add the seller disclosure.
Why?
You better. I know the property hasn't had any issues. As you're looking at an issue, there is no major damage to anything. I would consider that major damage.
I would. And, as we've talked about before, many times here, is that I told my client while we were in this townhome, I said, when we talk about the nature of the as-is contract, because I want to set the right expectations for a client as to what is and is not okay for you to ask for. First of all, it's okay for you to ask for anything you want. You can ask for anything you want. But in trying to be, good, fair, honest, and understanding of what the contract is that you the offer that you submitted is on an as-is contract. That's what we use here in Florida. I always tell my clients we want to focus on the structural and the mechanical aspects of the home, not the aesthetic. If this was one cracked tile, that, in my opinion, if you could see that somebody dropped a glass and it just has a little chip in the tile or a little tiny crack, that's aesthetic, that's normal, that's really not anything to really ask the seller to replace. You can, but that's not a big deal. That you should expect that. That you should not expect. That is not acceptable. That would be something that we would request or require that the seller remedy, so that the buyer can move forward with full peace of mind that there is no structural damage, below that. Yes, sir.
Can I save everyone some time?
Yeah.
If you are looking to sell your home and you are the sort of seller that doesn't want to fill out a seller's property disclosure and doesn't want to disclose everything, please don't call Amy. We always say, please call Amy. We don't represent people who don't want to disclose. Because, by the way, it's just dumb. Disclose it and then it's out of the way.
Right.
And we talk about all the time, the picture of the picture of the cracked tiles should have been in the listing. That's a marketing thing. If that's an issue, show it right up front, because then when people walk in, your client, if they'd have seen those cracked tiles, either wouldn't have come to see the house, or if they had come to see the townhome, they would have gone in and said, oh yeah, I was expecting to see that.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have been like, nope, can't consider this one because they're not disclosing something. So disclose,
Yes.
disclose.
And Laura responded, shrinkage happens usually with first 30 days of concrete placement. Settlement cracks typically happen most during the first few years of structure life. Usually houses settle less over time. Yes. So, and that absolutely could be true, is that there's settlement. Like, you will notice that that's back to Kim's point about the garage. That's one of the reasons that I kind of tend to want to wait, just because I want to make sure. Eric's smiling so big over here, so I just don't know what's it. You're laughing at the word shrinkage?
Yes.
I know him. I know him.
If you know the classic Seinfeld episode.
Shut up.
So women know about shrinkage?
Shut up. Anyway, moving on. But yes, so that, if we expect that to happen in the first year, which is why I tell my clients, like we talked at length last week, is that if you do your 1 year inspection, if it's new construction, do your 1 year inspection, you're going to see cracks in the corners where your walls meet. It's going to happen. It might even be happening at our new homeowner orientation, in which case we pointed out to the builder then, and we're like, hey, could you get those, sealed up so everything's nice and tight before the buyer moves in.
Laura added to her comment.
Laura added, so honestly, it's a 50-50. If it were sudden after 10 days, maybe I would be a bit concerned and monitored. Yeah. So, and I think her response was, let's see.
By the way, Laura Sanders, the official structural engineer of Coffee Time Live.
Yes. Let me see. What was I looking at?
The other realtor saying,
there's
no problem.
Yeah. The tile is broken because months after it was built, the house sat on the ground, as is normal. But there is no major damage to anything. Thank you for your interest. Houses do sit on the ground. That is true. That is true. And yes, it is true that there's settling. Yes, all of that is true. Nobody is denying that that's true. Our point is that you shouldn't buy a home with the tiles cracked all the way to the back.
And it may be nothing under there.
It may
be just normal, whatever. But that
correct.
tile, you're going to have to get that fixed. You're just going to have to.
Laura also says, haha, disclaimer, not your structural engineer. Haha.
Correct.
You are correct.
Thank you very
Laura.
much.
Thank you. Yes.
But you're still the official structural engineer.
You're still our official one.
Yes.
Wink, wink.
Official, in quotes.
Official. There you go. Anyway, no, but point is, on all of that is really about the word of the day, which is seller's property disclosure. And that really does go back just to kind of reference what we talked about last week and getting an inspection done prior to listing. And we talked about that, remember? And I said, some realtors are like, no, don't you dare get an inspection before we list, because if anything is wrong with the home, you have to disclose it. But it's going to come up in the inspection from your buyer anyway. So you could just do yourself and the buyer a favor and find out what, if anything, is wrong with the home, and complete and fix, repair, replace anything that you can. And if you can't, then we disclose that and we price it accordingly. It's a no-brainer, people.
That's my point. You're not going to be able to sell the house if you don't disclose it. In fact, disclosing it is the key to making it not a big deal. Any problem that comes up that feels like a surprise to a buyer can kill the deal. So don't risk do that.
It.
Yeah.
Gary says it.
Sorry.
Every time I click it up, you click off and it goes away. In Maryland, where during the inspection, the seller's realtor was there and nothing was a problem, but the house was being pulled and cracks in the walls splitting the house in two. Oh my Lord. I canceled. Yeah, I would too. And by the way, It goes to say, and this is important, that things do happen where there are structural defects of a home. And there are things that are much more serious in nature than some of these small things that we're talking about. So I don't want it to get lost that we're saying, oh, everything is just a small whatever, or, we just want to make sure that we're clear on that. Because yes, there have been some homes where there has been some serious structural deficiencies in the stucco or in the concrete block or in the foundation itself. But remember, in most cases, if it is huge in nature like that, you're going to have a warranty that's going to cover it. I've seen builders fix things that have been more serious in nature. And again, I always say, no, I don't think anyone builds anything specifically to not work properly, but you're putting a structure on earth and you can't control all of that. So sometimes you get something, a little leak where you didn't expect to get one, or whatever the case may be. But anyway, so that was our word of the day. So anyway,
Laura has one more comment.
Yeah, I just saw it pop up. I would have felt better if they had proof of pictures over the years saying that we had this from, let's say, 2015. It looks the same and not worse. It's kind of like where the owner needs to assess the risks. Yeah, absolutely. And that was kind of where we felt, honestly, it gave us kind of the heebie-jeebies when they're like, oh no, there's nothing to see here, because you feel like, well, if they're in denial about it, are they going to be able to assist us through the process? Because if she decides to move forward, and it's still very likely that she will, we're going to need to address that early on. We are probably going to have an extended inspection period, just to make sure that we can get to the root of that. There are extra tiles, by the way. I already counted them. There's enough tiles, excuse me, in the garage, extra tiles left over from the builder, that those can be replaced. But replacing them may not be the exact, solution if they're just going to crack again, and that would be something that we would need to find out. So that's something that we want to do.
And that's the word.
And that's the word.
I feel like we should have a stinger that says, "And that's the word." So wrap that part up. I like it.
Okay. In other words, that's his way of telling me to stop.
No. So say, "And that's the seller's property disclosure," and then I'll say, "And that's the word." It'll be cool.
And that's the seller's property disclosure.
And that's the word. Gracious. That was awesome. This is world-class entertainment. Oh my God, we're so good at this.
Okay. All right. Okay. Moving on, my friends. Let's get to, what do we want to get to, dear? Let's get to, we already did the scoop. I want to talk.
No, we didn't do the scoop.
We didn't do the scoop?
No,
scoop. Scoop. Yes. Okay. How many of you, I'm just going to say it, I want you to raise your hand. How many of you were like dancing and shimmying a little bit with that little intro music?
I'm raising my hand.
Anyone? I was shimmying. Anyway, okay, cool. So Mineola, you saw that cute little map graphic. We are zooming up to Mineola, which is a new hotspot and lots of new growth happening there. And this is proof that it is going to make its stamp on our map. This is the new rendering of the new Crooked Can, which is a brewery. Fantastic. There is one in downtown Winter Garden down there on Plant Street. It is one of the great gathering spots. People are out there all the time. I remember I went there once. I'm not a drinker, so that, but I went it was a Meritage. Meritage had an event out there once, and I went to be a good supporter of them. And I did have a pineapple beer that actually was okay. It was not bad. But that is the new one that they are planning on building out in Mineola, right there near the Dreamfinders community.
Look at that. Look at that.
It's beautiful.
Wow.
So for those of you that are curious as to, hey, is Mineola kind of like out in Timbuktu? No. First of all, there's already a Publix, a 2-story Publix. There's already a Starbucks. There's already a McDonald's. There's already lots of things that are out there. There's a giant shopping area that's going to be coming, and it's just down the street from Route 50, which is where the Target is. And I mean, there's so much stuff happening, and all of the new things that are coming in Mineola itself. So that is absolutely one heck of a beautiful building. So that's going to be really exciting. So we're excited to. And
just further update, they posted that on their Facebook page, and
yes.
So they hope to be serving Crooked Can beers in 2025.
Right.
So
yes.
Maybe start building this summer. They just went to permitting.
Permitting has, to my knowledge, and I don't know if commercial is going to be different from residential, but I know the permits were taking quite a while out in Mineola. So so anyway, so that's exciting. That is definitely Inside Scoop. Kim asks, out of curiosity, does the builder in new builds leave extra tile behind? Yes, ma'am.
Great questions.
That's a great question. So yes, they typically do. So like when we do the new homeowner orientation, out in the garage it's going to be leftover paint, floor tiles. Sometimes there's even like bags of the grout mix. If you have tile and you have like floor planks, depending on what your flooring is, usually all of that is left in the garage. And then at the new homeowner orientation, they kind of will tidy it up for you. They'll kind of like, push it off to the side and stack it up for you. But if you don't want it, you can tell them to take it. But I definitely suggest that you hang on to that stuff because it's really important. Like for instance, not only back to the townhome in Champions Gate I was just referencing, not only were there about 10 extra tiles or however many left in the garage, but they were in the box. So we know the name, the color, like the whole description of that tile. And if it's been discontinued, well, then that's going to rot. But if we needed to get more, we have that information. So yeah, the builder was going to typically leave that behind. The one thing that builder does typically not leave behind anymore are paint touch-up kits. That is mostly due to and again, I don't know the exact story, but to my understanding, it had something to do with, I believe, a child drank some paint and then, that was left over in a home. They put them in the little cans, the little touch-up. I don't know how or why or if that is the accurate story, but I will tell you that it changed the builder's policies completely across the board, pretty much from builder to builder. Very rarely do I see anyone leave any paint anymore in the home as a touch-up kit. What they do provide, however, is a coupon from Sherwin-Williams. All of the builders use Sherwin-Williams paint, and so they get this blue folder at closing, and inside it's going to be a coupon for a free gallon of paint. little side note is that when your builder does use Sherwin-Williams, by the way, you can give Sherwin-Williams your property address, and in the system, it is already going to have all of the paint colors that were on your home. So that's a cute little tidbit. So that way, if you want to get a gallon of paint, it doesn't have to be the house color that you chose or that you used. You could just paint a room a completely different color. But point is, you get an extra gallon of paint. But yes, they leave the tiles behind. So did you have something else you want to say?
Yeah, a couple things.
All right, on to the cold caffeine.
Yeah, first of all, I'm sure the builders will want us to say, and you may have said that. I was looking at something on text about another issue. They don't guarantee they're going to leave tiles, but I don't remember ever there being one where they didn't.
Yeah, well,
but they don't necessarily, if they use exactly the right amount of tile, they just leave you the leftovers is what they're doing. But then the other thing I wanted to tell you was that there's a question further back to go back to about Silverleaf and Pulte to go back to. I wanted to remind you to get back to that, and that will lead me to that Deb says she misses we have the what's the word theme and all the stuff, but she misses the Hamlin theme. So that'll probably come up if you talk about Silverleaf.
Okay, where's the questiones?
I don't know.
I have to look it up. Look it up. I'll do Q. Colon. Garage statement insurance finally get paid out.
Search for Silverleaf.
Oh, I see it. Lizzie Tales. Any news on Silverleaf by Pulte?
Now, Amy, what community is that in, and what area of the thing? Oh yeah, you got the thing from Jim. Yeah.
This was the picture that Jim sent us. Thank you, Jim. This was the picture that Jim sent us years ago when his home here in beautiful Claremont, Florida, was under construction. This is something he sent us, and it cracked us up because there he is with his Mickey shirt on.
He couldn't wait to get here.
I love it. Jim, thank you for finding that. I actually had scrolled. It was so far back, I was going to sit here for a while. We've texted a lot, my friend.
So what village is Silverleaf Oaks by Pulte in?
It's in Hamlin. I was like,
I was a little delay there.
All right, so
that was for you, Disney.
So here's your update with my amazing contact, Blake, who is going to, at least as far as
I love Blake.
I know. I'm so stinking excited. So Blake is going to be opening that community, and this was as of December 14th. I sent him a message, as I always do, checking in on my people. He said, no, nothing on Silverleaf yet. And yes, as far as I know, I'm still going to be the one on the sales team. I'll keep waiting for the word, and I'll be the first to know, meaning me. I'll be the first to know. So anyway, so there's no real official update yet. There's still activity happening, major activity with Dreamfinders townhomes there. But not so much with Pulte yet, still working on kind of, clearing and infrastructure and all that jazz. And on the Silverleaf note, according to the Meritage update, the last I heard is that they were expecting to start selling phase 2, or phase 2 was supposed to be released March or April, but that date does keep changing. And I really feel like almost every lot in phase 2 that's for a front load garage has already got like a waiting list on it. But I don't want to say that and prohibit anybody from being interested in it. But I've had clients that were interested months and months ago. Remember who I'm talking about? They needed 3 houses.
Oh, yeah.
Remember? And even at that time, when I spoke to Tanner and Andrew out there at the community, they were like, pretty much everything is taken, but we can certainly make note of it and try to get going. So anyway, we'll find that out for sure. Yes, sir.
Can I tie this all together?
Do it.
So we had the Hamlin thing, right? Mm-hmm. That came. This isn't really tying it all together. I take it all back. It's just tying it together with your pet peeves from before, right? We talked about pet peeves. Okay. We talked about Hamlin, right?
Okay.
My pet peeve is stuff that gets stuck in my head. So much so I said to you before the show today, I was like, I might make a segment like what's stuck in my head today.
Oh, yes. So
Hamlin came from the fact that whenever I hear Hamlin, I absolutely think in my brain, but there's something else stuck in my brain, and I swear it's been stuck in my brain for a month, and it is to the point now I'm so angry about it, and I'm tempted to not share it with everyone because it's going to get in your head, but I'm going to go ahead and share it with you.
Okay.
It's from the new smash hit musical, Diabetes, the musical, or what I call the Jardiance commercial. Do you know the one I'm talking about? I have type 2 diabetes and I manage it well.
Oh, yeah.
Jardiance is really swell, the little pill with a big story to tell. God! Okay, here's why I'm mad.
Because it's a great ditty.
It's so good.
I know.
It's so good. But here's the thing to look for. And by the way, like Jane, I don't know if you have that commercial over in the UK. Geraint, I don't know if you have it in the Wales. In Wales. The fun thing to look for, if you like, I always turn it off because it's in my head and then it's gonna get stuck in my head. But one of my favorite things is like during the announcements of this may cause an infection to your nether parts or whatever, all the things it says. Like she's walking through the things and like it's a crutch. She goes like 3 times in the commercial. I think she turns to someone and goes, "Oh, thank you so much." It makes me laugh. Anyway. I've gone off the rails here, but Charlie is really... Okay, I'm getting out of here.
Dina likes your choreography.
Thank you.
Did you see that? Okay, now the thing is, every time that commercial comes on, and anybody else here that can see it, they're only going to be thinking of you dancing behind the camera.
That's my secret plan. No, it's really something that I'm suffering. It's an earworm, and it's so good. I mean, full credit.
Sorry,
and by the way, the actress in that, I think, is a superstar. She's fantastic, but I hate her with every fiber of my being because she's just infected my soul with her fantastic... She's like a Disney kid that grew up and needed some medication to lower her A1C.
All right, Diz Deb said, Eric, I saw that girl on People Puzzler on Game Show Network a few months ago.
That's awesome.
Contestant. Interesting.
That's awesome. I hope she lost.
And
No, I'm kidding.
Eric. Sydney says, such a nice voice, Eric. The notes just flow out.
Sydney, that's
Diz
what I'm
Deb, next dance on the counter. Ma'am, y'all, stop encouraging this behavior.
Listen, I'm all about world-class entertainment. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
All right.
I bring it, and Amy has to suffer through it, and so do you people.
All right, I'm moving on. I want to talk about another listing. So this is a beautiful home. This is the one that I was telling you have a showing today, had a showing yesterday, picking up quite quickly on this particular property. Out in Oakland, Florida. So if you don't know where Oakland is, it's kind of tucked between Winter Garden, very close to downtown Winter Garden. In fact, the West Orange Trail, you can kind of access it at the very front of the community. So you can just ride your bike to the front of the community and then you pick up the trail. So great location in that regard. It is a 3-bedroom home. It is the Astoria floor plan by Meritage. The community is long since closed out, but it is beautiful, great amenities. And you can see this is the one where he has no rear neighbor, actually looks out, beautiful vista kind of a view back behind him. It like dips down and then there's trees back there. Beautiful pool, I mean, fantastic pool area. Extended lanai, so there's lots of covered space, and then you've got the uncovered with the pool as far as like covered with the screen, but not covered with the roof. This is the one where they took the 5th bedroom and made it into a media room. Beautiful home. So this one, $799, $990, 5-bedroom, 4-bath. And just so you know, this home actually, there's another home that does not have a pool that backs directly up to the Florida Turnpike, and it's priced $18,000 more than this.
Yep.
So, again, cuckoo crazy. Anyway, so that is one of the lists. Yes, sir?
Go to Bijou Johnson's comment, because that's making you so happy.
Bijou
Not the
Johnson?
one about dancing on the counter. It's at the very bottom.
I'm looking, I'm
You're
scrolling.
going to love it. It's gonna,
Oh, wait, hold on.
It's going to make you so
I
happy.
gotta scroll. Hello. Oh, yes. Hello, this is Adrian. We have a call at 10:30. I'm here watching. No need to feel rushed if you guys go.
We're not going over 10:30.
I think Adrian knows me already.
Right?
Yeah,
Isn't that funny?
You already know me. No, we're good. You are on my calendar, my sweet. I am all good. I am prepped and ready for it.
And how exciting is that? That she's watching the thing? Thank you,
I know. Well,
Adrian.
it was funny because I just sent her an email yesterday. So Adrian and I have been chatting and talking about a specific community, and then we'll talk more today. But we're gonna have our first like real big phone call here at 10:30. But we've already been doing some work behind the scenes. So hopefully, Adrian, you got the email I sent you yesterday with all of those structural options for that Arthur floor plan. But yes, I can't wait to talk to you. And don't worry, I'm not going to go over 10:30. If I do, nobody will be watching, so I'll just be talking to myself, which happens often, but that's okay. Yes, I will see you later. I'm so excited. Okay, very good. All right, let me go on to these last couple of doo-wah ditties. Let's do...
How do you know how much to offer on a home? Is it reasonable to assume that every seller is expecting each offer to come in under asking price?
That is a great question. It's my girl. Is she pretty? So yeah, that's a good one. So this is a hard conversation to have with sellers when we talk about pricing the home, because people think that the way you work real estate. The way you purchase it is that you offer under asking and that the seller counters back, and then depending on what that number is, you counter back and then they counter back, and you just keep meeting in the middle. Well, sure. That's one way to do it. Or you could make sure that you're maximizing the listing's potential and receiving a seller or a buyer by pricing it appropriately to begin with. So, Deb, hold on, I gotta pop this one up. Deb says, I think you should rename that Allie Asks. I think so too, because Allie does know a lot of things. So maybe we'll do that. Allie Asks. Good
yeah,
one,
but
Deb.
Allie knows nothing. I think is catchier.
He likes it because it's catchier. We don't offend her because
no, and the whole point of that is that she doesn't know
Right.
a lot, and so there's an old show when they were growing up called Clarissa Explains It All. And that's sort of the vibe that we're going for, is that she's an inquisitive young woman who has pregnant lady hair, by the way. It makes me laugh.
That's so very cute. Anyway, so yeah, let me finish that. So yeah, people can expect in their brain, if that's the way they think it works, is that again, you come in low, seller counters counter like we just talked about. That's absolutely a way that can do it, that it can be done. I've done that before, sure. But I think that the main thing that it's important to know is that when I have a client that is looking to purchase a home, or if they're looking to list a home, the process for me is the same, and that is to find out what the true value is of the home. Isn't that a novel idea, right? So if I have a client that's listing the home, we want to get it for the maximum price, right? But we want to make sure that it will appraise. And sure, getting it above asking is fantastic, but it still has to appraise. So the situation is going to be different depending on the timing of the market and things like that. But generally speaking, we want to make sure that a home is priced appropriately. So therefore, if I have somebody that's looking at one of my listings and they come in low, that's fine. They can come in low and maybe the seller will entertain it. But really what I can do is show them the comps to show them that we're actually priced appropriately. If I have a buyer and they are, like Allie. So like if Allie's trying to buy a home, I'm going to do the same thing. If she wants this home, the townhome that I looked at yesterday with my client, I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to look at the numbers to see, well, how was that priced? Is that priced well? Is it priced under value? Yeah, that can happen, guys. Is it priced above value? And that will determine how we structure the offer. It's an art, really. It's not a one-size-fits-all process and procedure to getting a client under contract, whether it's the seller or the buyer that I'm representing. It's important to know that you have to manipulate it the way it needs to be manipulated, whether it is an aggressive offer because it's priced well and you're going to have multiple offers. Well, then we're going to price it a certain way. We're going to have a specific strategy. And then, again, if it's the opposite, we're going to do the same thing. So the point of that is you don't always have to come in low. And does a seller expect you to come in low? Maybe, but that doesn't mean that the seller has to accept a lower offer, assuming that you have it priced appropriately to begin with. Do you remember the listing that we had over in Summer Lake Groves? We had a townhome listed over there. No, I lied. It wasn't Summer Lake. Well, it was Highlands at Summer Lake. That one, it was the bungalow. Do you remember the bungalow that was so beautiful? We priced it, was it $499? Or something.
Yep.
We priced it like a little bit below. Oh my gosh, the foot traffic on that thing went out of control. The number of offers on that out of control.
We put $499. We sold it for $525. I think.
And that was because we felt like 500 was where that number is. And could we get a little bit more for it? Yes. But the way we were going to get more for it was to price it incredibly well and have a feeding frenzy. And that's exactly what worked. Now, again, that was the strategy for that home at that time. And that was when the market, we could get multiple offers and people would be willing to pay over asking. So sometimes it's better to go under and let the buyer be the one to go higher, because then if it doesn't appraise, it's not on us, it's on them.
And here's what we do, I think, that's different. So we have, he's our son, but he's also a full-time employee. Pricing the home is so important that we spend a lot of time on it. Like we spend probably 5 times the amount of time on pricing a home that other realtors do. And we consider it our competitive advantage that we get the price right. But for example, your new listing today.
Yes.
That number came, now every seller would like more money, right? We worked really hard to explain to them that $599 is the right price for that home because It's probably 606, 607, 608.
Correct.
But if we priced it at 607, we're going to get offers at 590. That's what we're going to get, because people will know that feels a little high. At 599, people will see it. What about all the people that are pre-approved for $600,000, right? Mm-hmm. Pre-approvals come in round numbers usually, and they're pre-approved for $600,000, so they go search for our house that's priced at 607. They never see it. If a tree falls in the forest, does anyone hear it? If a home is overpriced, does anyone see it? That's the main thing. We always say the price of your home is the number one marketing tool that we have.
Yes.
So we work really hard on that thing,
yes.
And we get it right, I think, almost all the time. We have gotten it wrong before. We've gotten it wrong a little bit on the high side before. We've gotten it wrong a little bit on the low side before, but we've always been saved if we're on the low side, because the market speaks to you.
Yeah.
We know right away if there's a ton of interest and there's a bunch of offers, well, that pushes the price up anyway, so you're safe.
Right.
Way better to price it a little low than to even price it even a little high, in my opinion.
Right.
That's all I'd say to that.
And another thing to think about, and I was just having this conversation with a client the other day about pricing their home. So let's just use that home as an example, right? So if you are approved for 600, and we're just going to use that number. First of all, I am fully aware that when I'm talking 600, I'm saying 600,000 and how many $1 bills that is. That is never lost on me when we're talking in these numbers. That's it's 600,000, because you might live in a place where you can get a mansion for 200,000. That's not here. And so I want to make sure that people understand we're not just being flippant with these numbers. It's just that that's what these numbers are, right? That's what our market is indicating. So let's just use that number and forget how expensive that is, okay? So 600,000, if you are in this market and you were looking for Horizon West, Winter Garden, and you want to be in a great area, 600,000 is the tip top of your budget. You're going to be drooling at that house, that you can get that house for that amount. Whereas if your approval is 700,000, that house may not quite meet what you were looking for. It might not quite meet your standards, because you might be able to find a home that's a little bit more square footage. And so it might be more at the bottom of your list of home options as opposed at the top. So if you are a motivated buyer, are you going to be more motivated to buy the one that you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I can get this almost 2,600 or 2,500 square foot home, this 60-foot wide home site with that awesome backyard area for 600,000? Are you going to be more motivated to create and send a good offer for that? Or are you going to be pre-approved for more and you're like, well, let's just submit an offer and lowball it and let's see what happens? That's what that buyer is probably going to do. So again, there's so much more depth to the mindset and the strategy behind what we're trying to accomplish. And as a reminder, we are all trying to accomplish the same exact thing. So with that note, let's move on to our little thing. Deb says, my parents are trying to sell a townhouse in Williamsburg. I think it's probably priced too high. Like Williamsburg? Like Williamsburg, Virginia? I guess, right? Is there any other Williamsburg?
There's a Williamsburg near Orlando. There's a Williamsburg, Brooklyn.
Oh.
So there's lots of Williamsburgs.
Oh, well. Well, tell me which one. Not that I can help, but all right. Let's see. Did I get everything, Daddy? Did I get it all?
You have what you're watching. We don't have to do it necessarily. But by the way, Deb, if it's Williamsburg or Orlando, send us that address.
Yeah,
we'll look at it and let you know.
Yeah, of course. Okay, well, I'm just going to do the one I'm watching. Not that it matters, but then we'll do that and we'll get out of here because I got a phone call with Adrian in a few minutes. Okay, so not my typical show, but I just finished actually last night. I finished the last episode of Project Runway. By the way, I think this was filmed in like 2019, so I'm way late to all of these things. But
yeah, they're on at least like season 10.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know
20,
what season it was. But I watched it. It was fun. It was interesting. The whole time I'm watching that, and if you haven't ever watched it, it's about designers. It's about upcoming designers, clothing designers. Whenever I think about that, I have to tell you, part of why I watched it is because it makes me think of my grandmom. And she was...
Who looked exactly like Heidi Klum. I'm kidding.
My grandmom, when I was growing up... she was of the generation where they sewed clothes. They sewed everything. So she had her sewing room and she had her I always thought it was the most fascinating thing, that piece of furniture, your sewing table, where the sewing machine could tuck down underneath, and then you would pop it up when you were sewing, and underneath of it she had all these bins with buttons and zippers and knickknacks and rhinestones, and it was just a treasure trove of stuff in her house. Her closet, I remember her closet had fabrics and swatches, and it was just so much fun. And I remember her, making us dresses and making us costumes sometimes. I remember when I was little and I was dancing, my mom had a dance studio. And when I was young, I think I was maybe 5. Maybe I was younger than that. I think I was younger than that because it wasn't when I was in school. But anyway, I fell off a bicycle and broke my arm. And it was my left arm, and I'm a left-handed person, so I remember my whole family tried to get me to be right-handed during that time. It didn't work because I'm still a lefty. But my grandmother made a sling, a green sequin sling to match my costume. I'll find that picture somewhere and show you. But anyway, so I just think about that. So yes, Project Runway, obviously not comparing my grandmother to that, but it kind of takes me back to all of that, and the forms and the mannequins and the patterns and the pinking shears that my grandmom used to have, little zigzag scissors. I just to be fascinated to watch my grandmother do that. So that's kind of why I was watching it, not so much for the crazy cuckoo designs, and some of them were stunning.
Geraint asked if you've watched The Crown yet.
Yes, I did. Oh my gosh, Geraint, yes, I did. I did. Yes, I did. Oh my gosh. I love it so much. So I've watched everything that is available for us to watch here. So we are, oh my gosh, I loved it. In fact, I think Eric was a little miffed because we watched it, the first couple seasons we watched together. And then I ran out of things to watch on Netflix. And when it came out, I just started watching it. And I think he got a little mad. Did you get mad, babe?
So mad.
So mad. He was so upset, so devastated. Anyway, Deb says, many of the locks, brackets, etc. at the Colonial Williamsburg were made by my dad. Really?
Yes, your dad was a blacksmith. That's so cool.
Well, that's so weird. And do you remember our student, Caitlin Gardy? My student, Caitlin
Yes.
Gardy. Caitlin Gardy worked in Colonial Williamsburg forever.
That's cool.
Anyway, so it's cool. I miss that. I miss home. So that's really fascinating. Lots of fun stuff. All right, my lovely friends. I think it is time for us to say goodbye. I don't think I missed anything. Did I? Did I miss anything?
No, you're good.
I think I'm good. So guys, as always, where's my wrap up button? Here it is.
Is real. I'm just swinging back up. I'm singing back up for you. Go ahead.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, thank you guys. Stop.
A little pill with a big story to tell.
Okay. Thank you, as always, guys, for joining us on these crazy, wacky Monday mornings. Hopefully you laughed a little. Hopefully you rolled your eyes a little bit, because that's kind of what we did. Anyway, guys, we really do appreciate you. Please stay safe, stay well. Remember, we love you, and happy house hunting. We'll see you next Monday. Bye, guys. I can't wait. Bye.